Welcome, my name's Chris and I'm back this week with some guided practice for those who want to get better with ear training. This is something I love so much. I've worked on it a lot and I want to pass along my secrets to you and my understanding here. I'll try to. I want to demonstrate how I use my ear and how different chords emotionally hit me. And I think this is the key to really understanding what ear training is all about, right? Otherwise, if it's abstract or like just mental or a bunch of rules, it's not helpful. But if you can really get to the emotional feel of it, then I think you're in a good place. So I want to jump in here. I want to play basically the 1 through 6 chords of the major scale, and I'm going to be talking about how each chord feels to me, the personality of the chord. And this might feel different for you, but it will kind of demonstrate how to think about chords. And I'm also going to be showing off all the chord family chord voicings. I will link those below. So if you don't know that series, I talk about my favorite ways to play these chords on guitar. But again, any instrument can do this. And I'm really focused on this, making the intangible tangible, right? That's the whole point of this, and that's why I teach music, is I'm trying to do that for other people and myself. So let's jump in here. So I want to start with in the key of G. And I'll go kind of numerical up the key. And I want to be focusing on 1 to 2, 1 to 3. So let's do our first chord. So our 2 chord, right? So hopefully you know. You might not know, but 2 is minor. Isn't that cool? In every major scale. So it's a whole step above 1, and we have a minor chord, and specifically A minor here. Right, so this feel to me, I like this sound. I really love the 2 chord. It's kind of like a little bit more hopeful than the other minor chord in this key, which is E minor, or one of the other minor chords. The 6 chord, right, is a lot more serious. Right, so we'll talk more about this, but there's this thing called chord function in music theory, and 1 to 2, those are different functions. One's called the tonic chord, which means it's just stable. It's like feels like home, and then 2 is like subdominant. It wants to go somewhere. It could go back home, but it's really useful, right? It kind of takes our ear somewhere else. We have this, right? 3, 4, 3. Right? How about another key? Here it is in the key of C. 1. And here's a good way to work on this. Try singing the note before you move, if you're working on your ear. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? 6, 5. Right? Really try to hear some of those. That's really good practice. But also on a pragmatic level, you can ask yourself, can I play 2 to 1, and how many ways can I play that, right? How many keys can I play that in? So how about like the key of E? 1, 2, 2, 1, right? Isn't that beautiful? So I really like the 2 chord. It's really nice chord. Now moving on to 3. So let's try 1 to 3. Let's try the key of C now. So think, when you're doing this, you have to know these keys eventually, like old friends, right? But if you don't know them yet that well, just use the alphabet, count up. Don't worry so much about sharps and flats right now in these keys. There's not that many. So you can just count up the letters C, D, E. And the 2 and the 3 chord are both minor. So if this is 1, C, D, E, 3. And this is a really dramatic sound, right? 1 to 3. Compared to 1 to 2. That sounds a little bit less dramatic, right? 1, 3, right? And that kind of inward sound, right? So I really love this sound, very magical, right? 1, 2, 3. When you're doing this kind of chord work and ear training, when you're teaching yourself a song, there's 2 elements to this. So you kind of want to make sure that you've got the right root note, and then also make sure that the quality checks out so that you can hear if it's minor or major. Sometimes you might get this, E major, right? Which is another outside of the key chord, so it's non-diatonic. And that's beautiful. That could go somewhere else, right? It could go 3, 4, minor 4, right? You have lots of songs that do that. So just kind of be able to feel the minor, feel the major, the brightness, right? So same thing with the 2. We could go 1, 2, 2, right? Really bright. That kind of wants to go somewhere else, right? So there's a feeling to all these. Minor 2 feels different from major, right? Minor 3 different from major. So you can just work on these. Try to really feel that. How about one more key on the 3? Let's try the key of E again. 1, 3, G sharp, right? Kind of a weird chord, some kind of G sharp minor. I like to use some open strings. How about the key of, really the key of C is great for guitar. How about G though? Because 1 to 3 and C is C, D, E minor, right? 1, 1, 2, 3. Some kind of B minor, right? So the goal of this video is for you to be like, okay, if I'm really serious about harmony study, getting better at music, teaching myself songs, can I feel this? Can I put a label on this internally? 1, 2, 3, 4. Does it want to go there? Whatever you can feel on it is so good here, right? This is the whole point of ear training, is to like turn this stuff into tangible feelings, as tangible as they can be. So now going on to 4. So this chord might go to 4, right? 4, 1. And 4 is related to 2, because you have like 1, right? 2, if you're like playing piano or sheet music, 3, 4, and you see how 4 and 2 shared, there's 2 notes shared there. So on guitar, you can often see this like F, D minor, have 2 notes in common. So you can get, I usually see, oh, there's kind of some shared notes there. So that means that they're kind of the same function, and that means that they really interchange well. So you might hear a song go 1, 4, 1, 2. You can't feel the same feel, right? And so 4 is beautiful, and we call this a subdominant chord in classical music, doesn't matter. But this chord can kind of do anything, right? It's just like 2. It can go home, or it can go somewhere else. It can go to 6, it can go to 5. So the 4 chord is great. It's the amen kind of sound when you go 4, 1, right? 4, 3. If you, right? 6, 5. Again, you can do the same thing we did with D minor. 4, 3. Right? So again, lean in, right? Really try to hear this. So let's try the key of E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's lean on me. 4, back to 1, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1. How about like a little jazzier, like if I had something? You still hear it? 4, 1, 4. Or about rockier, just to kind of put your ear in different spots. How about the key of D? 1 to 4, 1, 4. Let's maybe go a measure. 1, 4, 1. Right? How much common is that? That 4 could go anywhere. 5, 4. It really plays ball well. So going on to 5. The 5 chord, we call it dominant chord in classical music. That doesn't really matter that much, but it is basically just trying to describe the function of this chord, which is really to want to go somewhere, right? A 5 chord is pretty unstable because of the 7. So in the key of D, let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Star Wars. You can use that, right? 1 to 5. So that's A, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 5 chord is the main other chord besides 1 in chord progressions. It's kind of the needed antagonist to the protagonist, right? Antagonists we need to resolve. And when you add the 7 like that, it really amps up the tension more, because now 4 in there wants to go down to 3. 7 goes up to 1, right? Right, 1, 5. That 7 added 7th to the 5 makes it definitely like older sound, right? So you don't hear it in modern music. You hear it in jazz though. You hear a lot of 7s added to everything, major 7s or otherwise. So there, they call that a 7 chord. But that sound, right, is so common. 5, 1. How about like in the key of D, if I did 1, 4, 1, 5. 1, 4, 1, 5, right? So like so many songs do this, right? 1, 4, 5, or 1, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4. And this is so much easier when you can get your voice involved, right? You can practice this anywhere. You could be in your office, you can be at school, you could be in bed, you could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? You just want to make it like really easy. And I don't have perfect pitch. I'm just like trying to sing one, like any kind of one I can hear, right? And when you're doing this in, when you're listening to music, you're really trying to turn this stuff on to really think what's one, or not think, try to hum one, try to really feel it, right? So now going on to, we've done 1 through 5, and real briefly, 1, 4, and 5 are really good to focus on. I would kind of, when learning new chords or asking yourself, can I practice like changing the key to a song, or maybe playing it in the key of E or something, like something new? Ask yourself, can I play 1, 4, and 5? Because those represent those 3 main functions. The tonic is the 1, or home, right? 4 is the subdominant, and 5 is dominant. So that really kind of represents the main motions you want to have in music. So, and you can go through, you know, play them all in a row. That's one way to practice. But I really like to go from like 1 to 2 to really practice this feeling aspect. 3, 1, 4, 1 to 5. And you can check out the chord family video if you're interested in how I play some of these. Now moving on, let's go to the 6th chord. So the 6th chord, let's try the key of C. Why not? So the 6th chord is the main minor chord. It's called the relative minor. So it's the kind of main antagonist of things. The 5 is kind of unstable, but it's still like happy, right? 5. But that 6 is kind of inward. It's kind of like, oh, I'll just stay home. Like, I feel sad, right? So it's very stable though, and it feels like kind of like 1. It's kind of like the dark side of 1, right? In fact, those are relative, right? Or so they're like paired, like 4 and 2, and 5 and 3 are also paired. So that's cool, and that the reasoning is because they're linking up like that. So they all share 2 notes, and it doesn't matter, right? But like if you can kind of get that same feeling, right? So if I might hear a song that goes like 6, it kind of feels the same, right? But the moods change a little bit, and then maybe 5, 4, 2. You can do that same thing on 4 and 2, right? 3, 5, right? 3, 5. So mess with this. You can kind of mess with those little pairs. I think though, what will make this really stick is just an angled kind of approach here, using your voice. Using this idea in existing songs, so trying to figure out the numbers to an existing song. There are 2 ways to test this primarily, and they both are very practical in the long term. One is, can I play this in another key? And if you're a professional musician, or if you just play music long enough, you'll have to start doing that occasionally for someone's voice or whatever. And the other thing is, can I teach myself songs? Can I like hear these, right? Can I like really practice hearing that motion when I hear like, you know, something like 3, 4, 2, 1, right? Just a feeling, right? You gotta get to the feeling level of this. It can't be like abstract or like just talked about, right? We really have to hear the sounds here. And I think turning up the emotion, turning up the like character of every chord and every single note, even like on the melody level, there's those numbers on both levels, and that's how I'm able to kind of use this. Briefly on the 7 chord is not used that much in popular music. That's why I'm not gonna really do a diminished thing. Like if I do play 1, 7, right, some kind of 7, it doesn't sound great. There's just no way to make that sound good. Where the 7 in the bass is used is when it's usually harmonized with a 5. That is used a lot, because that could go down to 6. Right, 1, 7, 6, 5. Maybe you can walk down 4, 3, 2. Right, that stuff's done, and 2, 5. It's a really common progression, right? Walking C 1 to 2, and then jump into 5 to take us back to 1. That would be something that would be good to try in other keys, right? That immediately makes you grapple with all this stuff. Like, can I play, you know, an inversion of A, the 7, B minor, the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, right? So really trying to get our subconscious here to kind of engage with this, right? And eventually you'll just have this feeling like, oh yeah, my fingers know where to go, kind of. That's the goal, right? Okay, so to review real briefly here, I'm just gonna play 1 through 7 even. I'll go up to 7. But I'm just talking about how they kind of hit me. I think this is something you can kind of tune into, and hopefully I've demonstrated kind of the essence of ear training to me. It's kind of getting online with this stuff in an experiential level, not so much talking about it or like looking at sheet music or whatever, right? We're just trying to really hear these. And not so much intervals and all that, it's fine, but really focusing on the aspect of the chords as they hit us emotionally, especially compared with 1. So here we have 1, 2, I love that sound, right? Make a whole song with 1 and 2. Like Chris Stapleton, it's a Tennessee Whiskey. That's all that is just like A and B minor. That's it. So really, really nice sound. And you can try it in different keys like this. How about 1 to 3? How about, now C. 1 to 3. Right, pick up on any of that moving notes you can hear. Was it Hey There Delilah? That's the first 2 chords of that, pretty sure, in D. And then it goes to like 6, 5, 4. And when I'm playing this back in my head, I'm hearing the numbers, or I'm feeling the numbers. So I don't have to like worry about what's it, B minor, A, G. That's kind of so disconnected. I'm just like thinking, like I'm hearing the song. It's like I'm remembering how something looks, right? It's kind of a sense perception thing. And I'm hearing like that motion, and then I can do it in another key, right? I can go 5, 4, 5, 6, and 5, and that's so great, right? And I could go 3, 1, 3, and of course that's just a lot of practice, but you can get there with just applying yourself and really focusing on 1 key at a time if you need to. Okay, going on to 4. How about the key of G? So G to 4, like this song, I've Got a Feeling. I think that's what it's called, the Beatles, like late Beatles tune. It's like 1, I've got a feeling, 1, 4, something like that, 4. So that just sounds so great, right? What I've Got by Sublime, that's all that is, 1 and 4. Few other songs like Imagine, John Lennon. Weird thing, but 4, finding any of that motion too, that's really good. And this is a great way to really work on anything you're trying to like learn. You know, anything up the neck, you want to really make sure the number context is there so you can really hear what you're playing. Okay, now 5. Stay in this key for a sec. 5, 1. The main chord progression in music is this, right? And sometimes songs will even end on 5 for like a cliffhanger effect, right? Unresolved. It's kind of cool, right? So, but we resolve it often, most of the time. And we have, the reason that is so tense is because 7 wants to go up. And when you add the also 5, 7, if you have the 7 there, that wants to go down. Right? That's why like music really works the way it does, is because of those half steps, right? Going on to 6. So in the key of C, that'd be A minor. How about the key of D? Right, 1, D, C, B. You could do it like that. It's C sharp in this key too, but you could also go, remember if you have the 5 down, you can think a whole step above that. And those are really common, right? So D, B minor, D, B minor. And then finally we have the 7, which is not that common. Let's try it in G. And if I'm just playing the 7 in the bass, usually you'll play, it's harmonized with a 5. And that's a really nice sound because that takes us down to 6. 7, 1, 7, 6. And you could even try that one exercise playing walking down. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Some kind of 3, 2, 5, 1. Try to hear that in other keys. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Can't sing that low. 5, 1, right? So we're just trying to really feel that, right? And go as slow as you need to. If you need to practice just like 1 to, let's say you practice 1, 4, and 5 1 week, or maybe 1, 2, and 3. Maybe it's easier to hear that progression that way. This stuff is hard to teach often because it's so naturally learned sometimes. Like I just learned this stuff from listening to a lot of music and starting to ask questions and kind of figure out like, how do I do this? How do I play by ear? You know, all that. So there's no wrong way to do it, but you do need to really turn up the emotion, I think, and kind of make it like not so much about music, but it's more about like how to feel, how to express your feelings, if that makes sense. How to feel like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, minor, inward. Right, dramatic, right? Whatever that means for you, whatever that feels like for you. Or 1 to 6. 1, 6, 6, 4, 1, 5, right? Those like little patterns. 1, 5, 6, 4. Super common. 1, what would be 4, 6, 5. Right, and eventually you'll be able to hear that better with your voice. You can kind of really feel that before you go to it. And then you're going to start to hear it in songs. You'll be like eating lunch somewhere and you'll be like, oh man, that's 1 to 5, isn't it? Right, I know that. Or 1 to 6 or whatever it is, right? And this is also a great way to, again, review your guitar chords that you need to learn, or piano or whatever. This is a good way to figure out what physically to work on, right? It kind of, all these things are related and you're going to hear them in songs, I promise you. So I want to leave it at that today. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to have more ear training resources coming out, and I will link the chord family videos. I would reference those, and let me know if there's any questions, or also let me know how these hit you, right? How do these feel? I'm such a nerd about this stuff, so I could talk about like how minor 4 makes me feel, or how minor 2, or whatever, like any of these chords. Every single chord, it doesn't matter how weird it is. If you're going like 1 to sharp 4, minor 7 flat 5. So that, you know, that's like a jazz thing, but so you might have that going. That's a certain feeling, right? And it's all like, if you work on this method, you're like internalizing it and you're really turning it up in a relative sense. So that way, anytime you feel that, you can go there to that space and kind of recognize it. 1, 4, 3, right? 6, 2, 5, 1, whatever it is, right? We're just trying to really, you know, if you're playing 1, 4, 5, real easy stuff, then it's easier than that. But really turn that up, really feel all this stuff, not just kind of like let it go in one ear out the other. Let it go through your heart, right? Assuming your heart is unclogged. So, okay, I hope to see you next time. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. I will be back every Monday and Wednesday with new lessons, kind of ranging on a few topics, but ear training is definitely one of those things that I think is ultra important. All my students have to hear me yap on about it too long, so I'm welcoming you to that yapping. But practice this, let me know how it goes, and I will be back with some more guided practice for you soon. Thanks.